And bottom line is, if you do not recycle this material, the NRC requires, and this is hard to believe, but Dilbert reigns supreme here still. The NRC, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, requires a 1,000,000 year secure, safe standard for storage. If you do not recycle this material, you are going to have this material untapped. It's the largest stockpile of clean energy in the world because we have the largest fleet of nuclear reactors in the world. Makes sense because of government policies going all the way back to Carter. It was decided not to recycle this material, even though, as it was mentioned, when you run fuel through a reactor, when it's running there about 3 to 5 years, when you pull it out, you've only used at most 4% of the energy value. Like you said, you have enough energy, clean, non carbon emitting fuel in that stockpile to meet all of the US's electricity needs for at least 150 years. And oh, by the way, an enormous amount of isotopes that are in their resident, that many of which to this very day we're dependent on Putin and Russia for. Almost 100% of the uranium comes from foreign suppliers. To this day, 2% or so is American. And if you recycle the material, you can provide with our facility as much as 40% of the uranium requirement a year. It's sitting below our feet virtually. So this material, what this material represents is an enormous national and economic sectoral resource and opportunity. Our company is essentially a mining company. You see the technology that is just to my right. This is one of our state of the art tri-vessel, about 3 foot high, in ground. We'll have about 10 of these in a state of the art NFL size facility. We're partnered with 4 national labs, the leading national nuclear labs in the world, frankly, with the US Department of Energy. They're funding us 80% right now, non dilutable investment to do the proof of concept at world class national labs, done in 3 years. And then we have the plan to then scale up to get a scaled up version 1 year after, one more scale up, and then full commercial by about 2033. So we have our patent. We got it sooner than we thought, and we got all our 24 claims. We asked for 24 claims, and we got all 24. We have industry partners ready to go, eager to be a customer or deploy. We have the largest radioisotope manufacturer in the world, the German company called Eckert and Ziegler. They're out of Germany, large presence in the US. We already have intent for major offtake agreements. We've already identified about 12 different isotopes representing billions of dollars for market opportunity a year. I was in the government 30 years. I rose up the ranks, always trying to be humble because, frankly, being paid by the taxpayer who had the right to be angry because we weren't doing the job we needed to do. But I had a lot of tire tracks on my back attempting to run and lead the programs for solving our nuclear waste problem. And my conclusion was the government was not capable of doing it. So at the end of my tour at the White House, I just serendipitously met these amazing entrepreneurs out in New York City, and they had the vision. They saw this as a major natural resource. They had the flexibility and opportunity to do it from scratch and bring in the best of the best. And we are in a position now to unlock this market. I call it the SpaceXify the market, the Teslafy the market. So I left a high position where I had no mandatory retirement, but I want to make a positive difference for this our country. And I knew, I've seen it firsthand, one of the greatest lost opportunities, untapped resources, are those 90,000 metric tons plus sitting around 75 locations around the country that is absolutely technically doable for extracting. Absolutely. It's economically doable. It's been just simply a product of government policies over the years. The good news is we're in a unique moment where we have a stronger bipartisan support for nuclear to meet existential threats, whether it's energy security, geostrategic, whether it's climate jobs, you name it. And so, just to give you an example of how tangible this bipartisan um, development is happening in support, I've had the pleasure to meet directly, personally, in the office of Senator Cruz 2 times in the past several months or 6 months, and he is sponsoring. He has actually developed and is sponsoring legislation to support nuclear recycling because he gets it. And in fact, he has sponsorship from across the aisle, including from New Mexico, from Senator Heinrich. And that legislation is very important. And we're seeing on the House side uh, appropriations for new money coming in for recycling. Recycling is a no brainer. It's time that we do it. We're sitting on top of the world's largest cache of clean nuclear fuel, of radioisotopes that we, some of which were dependent on Russia, and it helps fight cancer, explore space, industrial, for well logging, for oil exploration, you name it. And so now we're working primarily with states in the Appalachia region of the United States because why Appalachia? For a number of reasons as far as where we may site our facility. Our facility is going to be a good 56-year facility. It's going to be a facility that has about 3,000 full-time jobs, most of which are not advanced degrees. They're trade-based, high school, 2-year associate's degrees with very good training in some of the highest medium and generational income you're going to get in this country. But one reason why we're looking at the Appalachia region is because we want to be as close equidistant to the preponderance of the 75 sites that have this slightly used nuclear fuel. And the majority of the reactors on the eastern side of the Mississippi. And so, whether it's Virginia, West Virginia, or Kentucky, that region is optimal from a logistics perspective. Another reason, though, is because the geography of some of these former coal mine sites where they have had flat top removal, we're looking for a good 300 or 400 acres with good natural security around. It's going to be a highly secure facility, but we're going to need access to rail, power, and trade-based workforce. Appalachia has all of those. And we're speaking directly with governor's offices, with county executives, with mayors. And what they tell us is they absolutely want this. And they know, and they've lived it, and that they have been the backbone of the United States industrial revolution in the coal industry. Now they're on hard times, incredibly hard times. It's tragic to see the amount of poverty and how devastating the anti fossil policies have been on this area. Yet they want to be a part of the future, so they recognize any state that houses this facility is going to become the largest clean nuclear fuel supplier likely in the world.